Welcome to the From Burnout to Recovery show with your host, Dr. Kate. This is where your journey to burnout recovery starts. Are you feeling overwhelmed or like work has become unmanageable? Join me and my guests for open and honest conversations about burnout recovery from the comfort of the front porch. I am here to help you build your resilience and prepare you for burnout in a whole new way through a variety of perspectives. Move past the idea that burnout can only be addressed by avoidance and work to integrate recovery into your daily life. Relax, take a breath. The From Burnout to Recovery show starts now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the From Burnout to Recovery show with Dr. Kate on Transformation Talk Radio and member of the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group. I am your host, Dr. Kate, and I am excited to, of course, welcome you to the show today. Remember, as you are enjoying the show, be sure to hit that subscribe button, download the KS Media Group app, where you can find all the world's best influencers in one place. Today, we are going to be joined by our guest, Yvonne Dam. She is a performance coach for people who have too little time and crave to take their business to the next level. Through her programs and VIP coaching, she is here to help you grow your business further while making it all feel like a breeze, getting you to drastically reduce your working hours. And when she's not coaching, you can find her indulging in beach walks and a sparkling glass of champagne. I love that. Yvonne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, I am excited to talk to you a little bit today. So to get us started, if you would tell us a little more about yourself and your experience with burnout and your journey to burnout recovery.
Okay, great. Well, I've been working in the corporate world for over 25 years. And I started my career as an international tax lawyer in one of the top 3 audit firms. And I learned basically 3 things. 1, time is money. 2, to be very efficient with your time. And 3, to never waste any moments of the day. And because I'm quite ambitious, I really did well. I incorporated all those rules. I climbed the corporate ladder. I got a leadership position, and I lost myself along the way. I got very seriously burned out because I ignored so many signals of my body, like so many. And then one day I woke up and I couldn't normally speak. The only thing I could do was stutter. So I thought, okay, maybe I should stay home now for a while. So I thought, okay, maybe it became 1 day, 1 week, and it turned out I had months to recover because I really drove my body to the ground. And then I recovered. I learned a lot about prioritizing myself more. And now in my ideal world, I would now then tell you, and then like a magic wand, everything in my life changed and I became this Zen person.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
I wish. It didn't happen like that. I must be honest. I am a very driven person. And even though I did prioritize myself more, even though I learned to listen to my body, which, by the way, I don't know your experience, but I fell asleep when I was too tired, and I could fall asleep everywhere. Yeah. So on the most embarrassing moments, you would find me asleep. So there was kind of a signal very hard to ignore.
Yes.
So
your body was very clear in those instances. Like, I'm shutting you down.
No more. So I learned to listen to my body, and I really did that. I made myself a priority, but I just kept working hard. Then I started my own business in coaching, which I loved, until one morning on a Monday, I woke up and I was like, I don't want to go to work. And I was like, this can't be. I started my own coaching business, something I have been dreaming about for years. And now I wake up feeling like I don't want to start to go to work. What's happening here? And I actually discovered that I had become so amazing in being more productive, being more effective, more efficient, that I got so much work done, but I kept doing it all. So I really felt I trapped myself in my own business because I worked so much that it wasn't funny anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, and now I've had enough. And then after 15 years, I broke my work addiction because I was addicted to work. So that's my, unfortunately, not magic moment, one service. It took me 15 years to really recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the time span is true for a lot of people. One, like it can take a long time for us to recognize that we are in a state of burnout. And I think, your phrasing of talking like this work addiction, right? And what that looks like for people, I think is a really important aspect. So what were some of the things that for you, like kept you in that addiction, in that workspace?
Well, I think it's part of your personality. I'm eager. I used to be a big people pleaser as well. That doesn't help with work addiction. I'm eager to get it done. I like to achieve things. It sounds horrible when I say it out loud, but I'm enthusiastic. And when you love what you do, it's very easy to work more and more. And you know what they say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person because they're the first one to get it done. And that's very true.
Yeah.
And it's how you would recognize it if you're always working. You wake up in the morning, first thing you do is you grab your phone to check. And you're not just scrolling through puppy pictures. No, you're immediately going to your email or, maybe your social media or what's happening. And then it's like your mind is on. So even when you're in the shower, getting ready, you're already thinking about your day. What do I need to do? Oh, and I still have to do. And that's how the overwhelm also starts. You're thinking of one thing. You remember the next and the next and the next. And before you know it, you're thinking about that thing you need to do 3 months away, but you're already worrying about it now. And, you skip meals because you're busy. You miss family dinners because you need to finish. Oh, I'm doing just this one thing. I don't know what one thing. And then I'm just this one email and it's never one and work never stops. So that's really, you're constantly, whether it's not physical, you're still in your mind thinking about work.
Oh my gosh. So this has hit me hard as a pretty new full-time entrepreneur in this space, doing this since, May of last year and whatnot. And I heard myself saying some of those things, right? Like saying to my husband, oh, it's just like, let me just get this one social media post done and then I will pay attention to you. Let me just do this one email and then I will pay attention to you. Or the second I wake up, grabbing the phone from the bedside table and looking at my email. I've actually, to help myself in that, I've put a timer on my screen. So utilizing the technology to help me stay off of it. So I actually can't access my email, social media, any of those things on my phone until between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. So at least in the morning, I have that ability to get up and I have about an hour to do my morning routine and stretches and journaling and those kinds of things before I can even access my phone. So I have to consciously say I'm ignoring it, which doesn't feel good. But yeah, I definitely I could hear myself saying those things. I was like, oh, I'm assessing that a little bit for myself. And I'm sure our listeners are as well. And wait, do I do that? Am I not present in my space because I'm focused on work?
Yeah.
So, what were some of the tips or tools that you started to use to help yourself, remove yourself from that space?
Well, I can give you a lot of tips around how to get more done in less time, and I'm happy to do so. But in all fairness, that only helps when you start with 3 essential things. It's basically my signature framework. When I tell you the framework, you go I know that already. Okay. But the thing is, you might know it, but you also need to implement it. So the first thing is set a goal that is achievable and make it one goal. one specific goal. So if you want to know what the one goal is, ask yourself, what's the one thing that's going to help my career or whatever I need to tackle my business most positively forward? There are some follow-up questions, but for now, keep it at one. What's the one thing I need to do? Then the second thing, and it doesn't matter, maybe you have a very big goal for at the end of your whatever period you're working towards to, but don't start there. Chop it up in smaller sections, okay? Mm-hmm. Because once you've established that, then you're going to say, okay, and then what are my priorities? Based on that specific goal, what are my specific priorities? Then a mistake a lot of people make again is that they don't include their personal life in those priorities.
Yes.
Right?
Gosh, that's so important. And yeah, if you're thinking just in work focus, then you lose sight of that.
Yeah, then you lose, you like you said, you want to stretch in the morning, you have time for yourself, you want to have dinner with your love, maybe go out with some friends, or I don't know what you want to do, but include that in your priorities. Mm-hmm. Maybe better yet, ask yourself, how many hours do I want to work? So, for example, when I plan my year or my week, first thing I do is I take out all the times that I don't want to work. I start there. Mm-hmm. Or the things that I've scheduled for myself, start there. Mm-hmm. And then all the rest is work, but it doesn't always come first.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got your goal, you've got your priorities, all inclusive, and then you go to your aligned actions. Mm-hmm. Now, again, it sounds so easy, right? Oh, my aligned actions. Well, I know what I want to reach, so I know what I want to do. Sure. But if you know what you want to do, you also should stop. And I can't articulate this enough. You should stop everything else. And this is where it goes wrong, because we know where we're going towards. To most of us, priorities get already a bit wobbly, but let's say we've got those, right? Then actions, we go like, yeah, of course, I know what I need to do. But then you see something, or someone asks you to do another thing, or you hear as an entrepreneur about, oh, you should give webinars. You go like, oh, that might be nice. Let me do webinars. Or, your colleague comes to you, can you help me out because my kid is sick? And what are you going to say? You're going to say no? No, of course you're going to say yes. But it happens again and again and again. And you're not focusing on what you should do. And again, there are very basic steps, but if you do not have those in place, it doesn't matter how smart you work or how productive you are, because all you're doing is you're squeezing more activity in less time, so you can do overall so much more, which isn't the essential what I believe in. Let me say that.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I really like that aspect of setting the goal and then establishing your priorities, including yourself and the things that bring you enjoyment and the things you want to do in your life as part of those priorities, not forgetting that. And that alignment piece, definitely, I understand that for sure. I call it kind of like the shiny squirrel business syndrome, right? Sure. So there's a shiny object, there's a shiny thing. Oh, I need to do this. I need to add that, and in that alignment piece. And I think I would imagine that a way of getting yourself back into alignment is going back to that main goal and those priorities.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why it's so funny, because if I just say to you, goal, priorities, action, you go like, yeah, okay, what else is new? I've heard that like 100 times. I've done it again and again. But I'm also very specific in how you need to set a goal. And it's really where we often drown ourselves is that the goal is too big, or it's too much, or especially when you're, in a servicing environment where people constantly ask things of you, and especially if it's not in your job description. And here is where job creeping starts. And it's also where we kind of overload ourselves, because we are so service orientated. We will always say yes. Maybe one of your colleagues has a burnout, so there are more tasks, and you just take them on board and on board and on board. it's not a good thing for several reasons. First of all, it's not good for you because you will drain yourself. And if you don't watch yourself, you get burned out. Second of all, it's not a good thing for the organization because it's basically hiding a problem. You're thinking you're helping, but you're basically not helping. And it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect your quality of work because you get so tired, you can't deliver the quality you should. You're going to basically not be able to do the tasks that you should do as well. Mm-hmm. Your clients might be affected or who you're working with. It's really not a good thing. So if it's temporary, and I mean really temporary, you could do it. But if it becomes longer, the best thing to make sure that a solution is found within the organization is to stop doing the things that you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Yvonne, you use the expression job creeping, and I haven't heard that expression, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Would you tell our listeners a little bit more about what that looks like and how they might recognize it?
Sure. It's one of the things. So when I work with clients who, for example, want to get a promotion, mm-hmm. or they want to have, they want to do really well in their job. So what we always look at first is what's your job description? Mm-hmm. And maybe what are the goals you've already set, or what are the conditions you need to fulfill to get a good, bonus or the promotion. So we really look at what's already in writing. Mm-hmm. So this is what I should do. Now, let's say you have to do ABC for example, right? 3 things. Then my next question would be, okay, and what are you currently doing? Mm-hmm. And then all too often they go from A to Z, mm-hmm. all the way to the end. That's job creep. Yeah. It's when you're doing much more than mm-hmm. you were supposed to do. And it always happens.
Yeah.
The thing is, are you getting seen for it? Mm-hmm. Is your added value noticed? Are you getting rewarded for it? Mm-hmm. And in all fairness, is it doable? Mm-hmm. And all too often, all those 3 questions are no.
Yeah.
And especially when things are kind of an informal rule, or it's a given, or it's been going on sometimes for years, you think that you're doing great. Mm-hmm. And this is also where the really dissatisfaction with a job starts to creep in, because you're feeling, hey, I'm giving it all. I'm doing so much extra, but you never notice it. You never say anything. I'm so tired of it. If you don't go and have that conversation around it, again, it's a really good source for mm-hmm. burnout, because you get so fed up, frustrated, and you're working too hard.
Yeah. What might be some strategies that folks can utilize when they're recognizing that the job creep has happened? And so they recognize it, they name the things that aren't a part of their job description. So what next? What's the next step that they should do?
Well, it's always good to have a conversation around mm-hmm. it. Be open, talk about it. The best way to go about having a conversation with your manager or with leadership is not just to say, hey, listen, I've been doing 10 extra tasks these past however long you've been doing it, and I'm going to stop it right now because that's going to cause a problem. Okay. If you want this changed, the quickest way to get it changed is not only to say there's an issue here, highlight why it's an issue, why it's actually affecting the business in a negative way, like we just discussed. Mm-hmm. Not just you, but the business that most likely is going to ring through, sadly enough, but that will open up their ears more. And then if you can, come up with a solution. Mm-hmm. So it could be that they hired someone new, or they're thinking about hiring someone new, or that someone is, for example, because this also happens, way better than you at it. Mm-hmm. Come up with a solution, maybe have some solutions ready already, but also be prepared to stand your ground.
Yeah.
Because if the organization is under pressure and they can't hire someone new, but you know that you're reaching the end, you will need to set boundaries and be very clear that you can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate. Yeah, I love the strategies there. So having that open conversation, talking to your supervisor about it, but going in with some problem solving pieces to it, right? Like, so it's not just this is happening and I'm complaining about it, but I also have considered what solutions might look like. But the key is absolutely that being prepared to stand your ground. And what does that look like for you in that aspect?
Yes.
I love that. So this has been such an amazing conversation. Dear listeners, I know that you have been enjoying it as well. Remember to hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who you think needs to hear it, because I think lots of people absolutely do. Yvonne, what is one last piece of advice that you would share with our audience members?
So my go-to tip is, if you're feeling that you have a lot going on, and if you basically wake up and it's already going on and on in your mind, ask yourself, and I do that every morning, or sometimes I do it the day in advance, what are my not more than three most impactful actions of the day? Mm-hmm. Okay. The 3 most impactful actions. And ideally, again, they would be aligned to your goal and your priorities. But if you ask yourself every day, what are the 3 things that are going to make a difference, that are the most important, maybe the most urgent, but really the one that makes the most difference, start, if you can, your day with doing these. Mm-hmm. Then what will happen is, once you've done these, a couple of things are going to start. First of all, you feel great because you know you've done the most important things and you've done it on time, and you feel better. Because you've done it on time, you feel more productive and ready to slay the rest of the day, which then really has a positive effect. Yeah. But also, you will see progress quicker, because every day when you focus on the 3 main things, things will really start to shift. Mm-hmm. And when you need to have a conversation with someone about, hey, I've got too much on my plate, you know what your 3 most impactful things are. And you then can say, well, and everything else, or a whole lot of the other things, they're not as impactful. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I've definitely heard that, like, the most important tasks, accomplishing those first thing in the morning, and that piece. I really like the part of reflecting on that, and not just most important, but what's going to have the biggest impact for you, and getting to that goal and thinking about that alignment in your priorities, and tapping into that each day. So thank you so much for offering that to our audience members. I'm sure that they would love to connect with you more. So where can our audience members find out more about you?
Easiest is to go to my website, which is amazeyourself.com. And there's a hyphen between amaze and yourself, but awesome. You can find me there.
And you can find that in the show notes.
Yeah. And I'm happy to chat with anyone. The one thing I always look for is how you can at least save 20% time. So if you're eager to get some time back, hit me up and let's chat.
Awesome. Yes. So listeners, if you're ready to get some of your time back, you definitely want to connect with Yvonne and have a conversation with her. Yvonne, thank you so much for being on the show.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Such a great conversation with our guest, Yvonne. And I know that I am going to be implementing some of those suggestions and strategies for practices, specifically considering that alignment piece and what that looks like for me in regard to taking things off my plate that maybe don't align with my true goal in that aspect, and really thinking about the job description that I have. And is there any kind of job creep that's happening for me, even as an entrepreneur? So we are going to move into our recovery moment at this point. So remember that we want to make sure that you are in a safe space to do that. And if that's not you right now, take a listen and come back to us later in that aspect. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and download the KS Media Group app for all the world's best influencers. Today, our recovery moment is focused on gaining awareness of your problems without trying to fix them. So let's take a deep breath together and have you settle into your body. So big, deep breath in and out. And we're going to strive to let go of fixing in this moment. When there is discontentment, the natural habit is to correct it. The mind goes into fix it mode. This often results in circular thinking, trying in vain to solve a problem. Although reflection and goal setting are useful, the obsession you experience is often not. This exercise offers a technique to work with this fix-it thinking. You can use it in a formal meditation practice and return to it at any point during your day when you notice your mind stuck on a loop of problem solving. So sit up as straight as possible, inviting alertness into your mind and body. Let's take a few more deep breaths in through the nose and out. In through our nose and out, bringing energy into our body and mind. In through our nose and out. Begin to tune in to your thoughts. What problem are you working to solve? Is there something specific that you want to figure out or fix? Notice the issue itself, not your thoughts around it. Try to clearly see what the problem is rather than focusing on the solution. With the problem in your mind, notice any discomfort you feel around it. There may be some fear of the unknown, insecurity, or a desire to plan something. Whatever your experience is, look at the issue with tender awareness. There is no need to judge yourself, beat yourself up, or jump right into fixing. Just be with the discomfort. As you rest in awareness of the problem to be solved, begin tuning into the mind and body. Is there any tension in your body? Notice where it is. Recognize when the mind jumps into the desire to fix the discomfort by saying to yourself, fixing. With the intention of meeting your experience with patience, offer yourself a few phrases of mindful care. I see this discomfort. The mind wants to fix it. May I be with this problem. I see this discomfort. The mind wants to fix it. May I be with this problem. As we close this meditation, take a moment to ask yourself, what can be done? You don't need to come up with a clear step-by-step plan. Just offer the simplest solution possible. For example, if you are worrying about bills, recognize that you may need to save some money. Allow this basic solution to arise and don't dive more deeply into the story. Take a breath in through your nose and out. As that simple solution arises, Acknowledge it. Thank your mind for bringing it forward. Go ahead and settle back in to your present space, taking a deep breath in through your nose and out. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes if you had closed them, bringing back your connection with your present space and moving on, knowing that you can acknowledge your problem without getting into the cycle of fixing thoughts. Remember, for more recovery moments, you can follow me at Dr. Kate Steiner on Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to the From Burnout to Recovery Show YouTube channel. I'm so grateful for our guest, Yvonne, and I am grateful for each of you for listening today. Thank you for joining us on the From Burnout to Recovery Show with Dr. Kate on Transformation Talk Radio. I am Dr. Kate, and I wish you peace on your journey. Thank you for joining me on the front porch today. Remember to download your free Burnout to Recovery Reflection Journal on my website, drkatesteiner.com, and be well, my friends. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Kate, on the From Burnout to Recovery Show, where you are starting your journey to burnout recovery. You are invited to join me on the front porch every second and fourth Friday of the month on transformationtalkradio.com to continue growing in resilience and integrating recovery into your daily life. If you would like to learn more or find out how to work with me, visit liftwellnessconsulting.com.